All right, guys, welcome to the Investor's Guide of Memphis Real Estate. I'm your host, Dean Harris, and as always, I'm with Douglas Skipworth. How are you, buddy?
Hey, man, doing great.
We're bringing you this podcast to give you the boots on the ground knowledge and experience to be a successful real estate investor here in Memphis, Tennessee. Please like and subscribe to the Investor's Guide of Memphis Real Estate on your YouTube channel, Spotify, Facebook, Apple Music, wherever you listen to the podcast. Show sponsors are listed on your screen below. We wouldn't be able to do this show, run our own personal rental business without these guys: Triumph Construction, River City Title, Cortland Financial, CrestCore Property Management, and Will Griffin with Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer. I help buyers and sellers every day in Memphis. Anything you need to buy or sell in Memphis, Dean at CrestCore.com. I'll get you a valuation on the property you own, or we'll get you the buyer profile link that'll allow you to start getting the houses that we source. Douglas, how you doing?
Great.
Last week's podcast on who you hang with was really good. I enjoyed
That was awesome.
Giving you some of my old man's wisdom that he passed along over the years. But that was great. You are who you hang with. You can catch that on the page of last week's show. Today, are you ready? Time for action. Every time I hear "Are you ready?" There's a University of Mississippi Ole Miss chant that comes behind there. I think we're going to provide that for you guys now. So if you really want to get up and get yourself excited for this podcast, here you go. Top 5 things that I need to do to buy my first rental. Right. What are some things that you need to do as a real estate investor? It's beginning of 2025. This is our second podcast of the year. We're going to start getting a lot of calls and emails from you guys on new investors. Maybe I own one, maybe you own none, and you're going to start your real estate journey. What are some of the things that they need to be doing? Our top 5 things to think about as we're buying our first rental property. What would be your first?
Here we go. I always say, like, man, you got to have deals, financing, and management.
Yep.
The hardest part is getting the financing lined up.
Yep.
So you got to figure that out first. Figure out where you're going to get your deals from.
Yep.
Agent, elsewhere. So
loan to me is the first one.
Yep.
Or determine if you're going to use some cash or a line of credit or. To me, that's the first way. And if you've bought a home before and you've used a real estate agent, your personal home or whatever, they've always want you to get pre-qualified first. And not only is it to protect them from wasting their time, but the main reason is so you can know what to expect. You're going to go buy a $500,000 house. You need to know what that note's going to be and have an idea before you go start looking. Same thing.
Yep.
We just want to know what the payments are going to be, what a current interest rate might look like. From a loans perspective, and just get an idea, get pre-approved. That way, when you find that right, investment property that you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So the loan to me is the first thing that I thought about. What kind of property, I guess, would be the next thing. What are you looking for? What is your target product going to be? Right? Have you bought a multifamily? Have you bought single family? What is it that you're going to identify? I would suggest listening to our zip code breakdown that we did in August to give you some general knowledge and education about the zip codes that we're sending out. But I would determine that next. What's some of the other things that you talk about as you're getting ready to buy your first rental?
Yeah. So again, I'm thinking deals, financing, management. So I'm thinking deals, how am I going to get access to these deals? What, to your point, zooming out, it's like, all right, what location am I going to be in? We're assuming you're going to be in Memphis.
Yep.
Or am I doing single family? Am I doing multifamily, like you said? Or am I doing short-term, long-term rentals? Am I fixing and flipping, or am I buying and holding? So you're kind of nailing these things down.
Yep.
So then you can start getting deals.
That's right.
From agents. I recommend, know me, first thing I do if somebody's interested in Memphis, I'm like, I do 2 things. Let me introduce you to Dean.
Yep.
Because he is going to be able, and his team are going to be able to give you deals.
Yep.
And let me introduce you to CrestCore Property Management.
Yep.
Because what are you going to do after you get that property?
That's right.
So those are my 2 introductions.
Yep.
Assuming you got money. If you don't have money, then I might introduce you to a hard money lender, Cortland
Financial.
There. So, but to your point, deals. Once I know what I want, how am I going to get access to those deals?
That's the biggest crutch for people, or the hiccup that I think an investor goes through, because a lot of people can get a pre-approved, or they have cash, right? One or the other. It's finding that right product. And just because you found it, there's a science into this, right? You can go into anywhere and look at Zillow and go, oh my gosh, that looks like a decent property. Yeah, I strongly discourage you from doing that. You need to get some boots on the ground, some people that have experienced that area, the specific area, not just Memphis.
No, that's so good.
There's
man.
a lot of people out here
so
selling
good.
real estate in Memphis, in the whole city. You can't be an expert in the whole city.
No, I can rabbit hole this thing, man. It's like, man, you got to ask an agent who's experienced in that area and a property manager who's experienced in that area before I buy a property, for sure.
Because if they have no idea, it's a different animal for all of you. You don't want to walk into a community with surprises. Because I tell you what, you'll be disappointed grossly, financially.
Been
disappointed.
There. Done that. I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah, I think that's where we come from. This whole podcast should be maybe titled like, based on how we screwed it up. Yeah. Because I've done all of these things. So, let's talk about how you get those deals real quick.
Okay.
We did a podcast a while back about this buyer profile link that we've created.
Man, I couldn't go. I would just say watch that. To me, it's as important as I guess the zip code is important. Most important because you need to know where you're going.
Yeah.
It's number 2 right behind zip code because it tells you why what you send is so valuable compared to what everybody else sends.
I love it.
You send gold.
The reason why is it's live. I don't know what others are doing, but I know when I source a house at 10 a.m., by 10:30 or 10:45, we're running that process and we're getting that out. It is going out. It's live. A lot of people say, hey man, send me your available sheet. I'm like, I have some listings, but if you're talking about houses I source, that stuff doesn't last. No, it goes. I don't sell them all, unfortunately, but I mean, they go and they get out and we start talking about offers. Yeah. So now we're getting ourselves ready. We've figured out that we want to get a loan, so we've been pre-approved. Okay. We now figure out that it's Memphis and we're going to source some deals into certain areas, right? We're going to fill out the buyer profile link with Dean. We're going to start getting houses sent to me every day that we've sourced in the market. Some will be for you and some won't. They're not all, works for every single person. But you'll start to get a feel of our market. You'll start to get an idea of what's being sold, what it looks like, the condition that some of these houses are looking like. It's an education along the way. Because a lot of people say, well, Dean, what do you mean? Yeah. And I can break this down, but go listen to that other podcast. It's what we send you is so much information.
So much information. You learn so much. And we all know you learn so much more doing it.
Yes.
This is not theoretical. This is very practical. This is you looking at it and figuring it out. So
that's right.
So that's great.
So we'll get that buyer link filled out. Now you've been approved. You're starting to receive homes from Dean. What's next? I advise new investors all the time, you need to start breaking down properties as you're getting them from me and receiving them in your email.
I was going to say make offers, but to your point, I'm maybe skipping a step. Maybe I'm skipping a step.
Yeah.
Of like, how do you evaluate what you want to?
Yeah. I encourage them to look for a week, look at the emails that I'm sending you and look and see like the type of product that you are going to be looking at. Yeah. Unless something just comes and slaps you right in the face, then by all means, let's go get it. But I would suggest coming in, review 10 to 15 properties. That's probably a week, 3, 4, 5 days worth of properties. Just start to review those and look and see. Now, the next idea is to fire off offers.
Yes.
And a lot of people, this is why this is important.
This is a good conversation to have.
A lot of people go, offers. When you go buy your residential property, and you carry your wife and your kids and y'all going with a real estate agent and you're looking around, you go and look at houses and you get emotionally involved. You start putting little Johnny's furniture in the corner and little Susie's teacup thing over here.
Their first car pulls up, their first date, graduation parties.
You're thinking about all of these things when you're buying that house. You get emotionally wrapped up to it. You go home, you talk to your wife more, your husband more, you talk to your lender more, and you still hadn't done anything yet. Nothing.
Yep.
And then you finally are like, I guess we're going to do it. And you still hadn't done anything. So you call your real estate agent and now it's probably electronic. They fill out an offer and they send it to you. And you're thinking about it. You're should we, shouldn't we? It's like, this is it. We're going. And you sign your offer and you send it over and you write your $5,000 earnest money check. And in your mind, you bought that house.
Oh yeah.
That's your house. They didn't accept our offer. What do they need?
Right. Yeah.
What do they need? In most cases.
Yeah.
Because their head and that little Johnny
This is
stuff is
good.
in the corner.
Yeah.
And he's already brought his first prom date home, right?
Yeah.
This is not that.
No, this is not
Record
that.
scratch. Alec, record scratch.
Yeah.
This is the polar opposite of that. We fire off offers over there like we change our undergarments every day. You are not in an offer and in a contract until we send some earnest money over, until both parties have signed and I've bound it.
Yes.
You have a long time, 3 or 4 days. Sometimes earnest money is 4 or 5 days after the contract time. We still can get out of that contract.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a diligence period that's going to allow us an inspection period that's going to allow us to go and inspect the home. And if for whatever reason, I'm just here to tell you, we should be using the guidelines of the inspections. I'm here to, most of my buyers don't, or they won't. Cold feet, don't want to do it. I'm just nervous. Okay, well, unfortunately, we can still get out of that contract, right? I don't want you to feel like it's not a real process. But I also don't want you to feel like little Johnny and little Susie's furniture's in the corner and this is our house because we wrote an offer.
So much of life in raising children and families and even having experiences with other people is like so much of it you learn just by experiencing it.
Yep.
And getting comfortable with something. And for me, that's what this is. And
Yep.
as you know, I've advised family members, younger and older,
Yep.
and I was getting into like just figure out what you're kind of interested in, and then go make some offers.
Just
put
to
some
see.
contingencies and see what the process is like. See what it's like to get something, look at it or find it, ask Dean's team to write it up
Yep.
with some contingencies. Here are the things. Oh, I didn't realize I needed to think about my earnest money.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know I needed to pick a closing attorney.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know I needed to set a closing date. And all these things you figure out, and you just keep making offers, and you put in an inspection contingency period.
Yes.
And to your point, if you go inspect that house or have someone go inspect that house on your behalf and you receive that report or the photos or the video or you do it yourself and it doesn't meet whatever expectation you had,
Yes.
you can cancel that contract
Yes.
validly. And that's not abusing. It's not even a loophole in the system. That
No.
is the system. That's what you've agreed to. Is like, if this doesn't meet my inspection criteria, which you do not have to define what that inspection criteria is,
No.
which is what you were saying of like, hey, if it doesn't meet my in my head preset expectation of what this inspection should be, then I can cancel that contract.
Let me give you some numbers
Yeah.
to back up that theory. We write well over 100 offers a month.
Okay.
I mean, well over, maybe even closer to 2 some months. We close 25 to 30
Yep.
every month on
And
average.
you're writing these on behalf of
Buyer
buyers
clients.
like
You.
you. Yes, not yourself.
No.
You for buyers.
No.
Okay.
All of these numbers are for other buyers. Basically, none of these I count.
Correct.
That I do myself on
Yep.
this. We write well over 100. We close 25 to 30 every month. I think last year we did 383 transactions.
That's a lot.
And we cancel 10 to 12 every month. I got competitors that use that against me.
So cancels. Okay, so you get
Get it under contract, and we cancel it during the inspection contingency period. I never
Gotcha.
figured out why my competition used that against me. I was like, well, Dean cancels a lot of contracts. I was like, you damn right I do. I was like, I represent my client.
Yeah.
And if it no longer makes sense,
Yeah.
I am going to tell you it doesn't make sense. Now, closing 25 to 30 of them gives me that leverage. It's easy for me to tell you to cancel because I got a whole business running, but I did that on purpose. And that's exactly the advice and how I treat my clients.
Yes.
We only send out houses that we would buy ourselves. Okay, so there's the one check box. But the one thing I can't guarantee anybody during this process is the condition of what the rehab amount's going to come out to. I'm not a general contractor, and the appraisal, and I'm not an appraiser.
Yeah.
Okay, I can guarantee just about everything else during that, right? So we are not going to be afraid to cancel. You can get out of a contract fairly easy. But those numbers back up what you were just saying. We fire off offers. I mean, I have agents now that are listening that go into Bigger Pocket and talk about how, just fire off offers. Yes, that is right. And I'm the one telling you that. Contact our team, fill out this buyer link, and start filling out offers until you get the right one that makes sense. I've had a guy yesterday, I think that was his 13th, and he got it. He finally got it. If I get the
13th house under contract or 13th offer?
13th offer, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Because this is sales 101, right? But it's any production thing 101. It's like, it's a funnel.
Yeah.
It's finding, up the top of it is finding properties.
Yeah.
Then it's making offers and it starts kind of narrowing
That's
in.
right.
And then it's getting accepted offers. Then it's doing inspections. And then it's after all of that. You're going to close.
Yes.
And so it's like it sifts all the way through. And then at the end, guess what? It's like a little piece of gold.
Little pixie dust.
Pixie dust falling through. But then it turns into gold at the bottom because you've worked it 100%. All the way through.
So he in 13 is not typical, but we'll go as long as it takes. He's a little more aggressive in his numbers, and he knew that, but we knew it too. So I'm fine. I don't care. We have the staff and the team to do it. Let's fire them off. Because the one thing you don't know, I'm not going to do, if you're listening, I'm not going to do 50 cents on the dollar just all day long offers.
No, that's definitely not.
That's a waste of your time and waste of mine. And it eventually, everyone in the city would start laughing at me. So we're not going to do that. But I don't mind being a little competitive. I do not mind being a little aggressive and getting after some of the numbers a little bit. We will fire them off till you get the right one, because that's what it is about. This whole thing was set up so we could mass produce the right houses for the right client.
Yes.
That's exactly. Our whole motto was, we want to make you feel like you're our only client. We only are going to send you houses that you're looking for.
Yeah. Write them up. Make them up.
Those are some of the top 5 things I would do to buy my first rental. It's time for the action, getting yourself ready for this 2025 year. I think is key and crucial. You're going to have some opportunities in 2025. Our interest rates are going to stay probably the same for a little bit. So just get used to that. No big news as far as that goes. But I think consumer confidence is going to rise up. And if we can put fires out in LA, I think we'll be all right.
I mean, I think we've had a lot stronger headwinds coming in to previous years.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's not as strong a headwinds, which is kind of a relief, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there's some opportunity to take advantage of that.
Appreciate you guys listening. Dean at CrestCore.com. If you have any questions about this, let's get that buyer profile link filled out. That's the one thing that we stress all the time here. That's the call to action. Dean at CrestCore.com. I'll get you set up. Either Allie or Patrick, 2 agents on the team, can help you, or myself. One of us will take good care of you. Anything else you want to add?
That's great.
Dean at CrestCore.com. Talk to you guys next time.